Hello and welcome to another Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Alright, so today is going to be a fun one. I have got a couple of cool things to share, a couple of things to unbox about something very neat, and a picture to show because there's something that isn't in my hands, but it is officially being created, which we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, the week in Bryan. Personally, things are okay. It's stressful. It's very stressful. I had to do some loan management and things to help pay for the home repairs and my kids' braces, and just it's a lot. So on a personal level, I'm pretty stressed out. If you watch me on socials, it's been kind of a roller coaster. But overall, I'm trying to stay positive and being, happy for, all the good stuff that's happening, which we'll get into that. There's a bunch of good stuff happening too. Weight loss has kind of plateaued. Some of that I'm sure has to do with stress. I eat and snack when I stress. So I'm sure some of that has to do with that. Oh, I'm sure also another bit is I'm spending a lot of hours in this chair. I've got a lot of pre-Gen Con stuff that I'm working on and wrapping up, and I feel like I'm in the studio a lot more than I normally am. So I'm sure there are moments where I should be up and about. And then, just as a side note, it has been stinking hot in Indiana lately. For the last week or so I have not wanted to go out and do things. Still go to the gym 3 times a week, that's still happening, but I haven't felt like really, busting ass when I'm there, because it's gross outside, and for a few days our air conditioner wasn't working. Like I said, ups and downs. Personal, we'll check that off in the list. Boop. Hobby-wise, so I didn't get any more paint on anything yet, but I do want to tell you something cool, which will go into gaming here in a minute. I had a Necromunda game last week for our little local campaign. We'll talk about that in the gaming section, but while I was there, as I was leaving, my wonderful wife handed me her personal debit card and said, go to the counter at the store and say, Natalie, give them my name, and they've got something for you. And then she goes, Happy Father's Day. So apparently back on Father's Day, she stuck her head into to the store and ordered something cool for me. She ordered one of the Tauros Venators for Necromunda. I have equipped this one with the the twin-linked concussion cannons. It is one of the only models that I don't have for my cops. So she heard me grousing about it, ordered it, and I went and picked it up. And then as soon as I came home from the game, I slapped this monster together. It's a fun kit. It's an interesting kit. Reminds me a lot of like the old Gorka Morka models. But I will say this. I was suitably impressed with the amount of, not fit together, but like, there was no other way it could go, so you can't get it wrong. I was very impressed with that. But yeah, no, it's very cool. And then when we get into gaming, I will tell you all about how my cops did. But that was really all my painting. I didn't do much else when it comes to the hobby stuff. I just put that stuff together. I'll get some primer on it at some point. There are still a couple of my regular Necromunda models that need to get painted before I get a vehicle. Because as we head into gaming for Week of Bryan, or Week in Bryan. So last week I had a Necromunda game. And I lost pretty handily. I don't know if anybody out there plays Necromunda. If you don't, you should. It's great. But one of the things that Games Workshop really has dropped the ball on is keeping the non-house gangs competitive. So the Necromunda, the main gangs, Escher, Goliath, Cawdor, those guys, the main gangs have access to everything. They have the best things they have territories that do special things for them. They have books of their own that completely give them their own stuff. They've got more units than anybody else has in comparison, which makes sense. They are the main players in the story. But when you're playing in a mixed campaign, you want things to be on a fair footing, but you also don't want to look at these house gangs and say, you can't use all your extra stuff because I don't have it. So you end up just kind of playing on the back foot. And I really do think that of all of the supplementary gangs, the Ashwaste Nomads, the Corpse Grinders, the everybody, the Palinites get the short end of the stick. They have a bunch of really cool thematic rules, but it absolutely kneecaps them when it comes to being able to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. I get one territory, and if I take other territories, I can't actually use them. I just get some rep from them or sell them back to the people who have them, which then makes them more powerful. So it's rough. It's kind of disheartening sometimes. That like I go up against, in this case, I went up against the new mining dwarves, the mining guild, basically, squat space dwarves for Necromunda. And maybe it's just because my opponent has had a lot of really lucky rolls between matches and has won pretty much every single game he's been in. But it really feels like I felt such a huge balance shift between the two forces. All of his guys start with higher toughness, the same if not better ballistic skill. They've got great access to weapons. I went up against somebody with a las cannon. I'm cops dealing with gang members in a scum hive, and I'm fighting against a guy who's got a weapon that literally punches holes in tanks. So it's just it's frustrating. I get a couple of cool heavy weapons, but one is a battering ram for knocking down doors that barely anybody uses, that comes with the same grenade launcher that my guys normally can get. And then the other one is just a slightly better version of a gun that my specialists can already get. It's like I said, I feel that the cops are kind of an afterthought. They were given a couple of new robots, which is cool, but those robots are armed with the same kinds of things that my regular guys can have. I have a cool kind of bounty hunter-esque person that I can have. I don't know. It's disheartening. It's so much fun. I love painting them. They're great models, and I enjoy playing the game. Like, I enjoy it at the table, getting to pull the trigger on my Enforcer bolt guns and play Judge Dredd. I really like the game itself. But then as soon as you sit back and go, well, I lost another game. Oh, I lost. What did I gain? D6 times 10 credits. Anything else? Some experience for my guys. Okay. What'd you get for winning? 200 credits, a free character, and and this guy, you got a territory now that every game you can tell someone to someone you're fighting against, including me, to not play. Like, it's just real hard sometimes. It's disheartening. I'm hoping that when I get my Spirers, when they come out, that my interest in things is better and further renewed. Which brings me to the Venator. So the vehicles, Necromunda never really needed to have vehicles. So they added another type of game, basically playing outside in the kind of the wastelands between the chunks of Hive on Necromunda. And so that means you have room for things like buggies and the little cricket riders for the nomads and things. But it does, if you're playing a campaign, it means that you've got to say that from the beginning, because in Necromunda, if you're playing with vehicles, so this cat right here has 2 crew, has a driver and a gunner, both of which cost 30 credits apiece to get Palinite Rangers, and then the vehicle itself, without any upgrades, without any guns, without anything, is 130 credits. the guns, those concussion cannons are 140 credits. So you're looking at like almost a 400 credit. Plus, you can add like extra gas and stuff. Extra armor. It's a 400 credit machine, and that's at best. Unless I have stuff, that's cool about like the mission that I win, or get something neat like an extra like credit bonus or something like that. At best, I'm getting 60 credits a game. You let that sink in. I've got to play 5 games, 6. No, is that right? I got to play 6 or 7 games to be able to pay for that thing, and that's if I roll maximum, and that's not taking into consideration any losses that I might take along the way. It's hard. It's hard to. It's just a great model. It's so cool, and I want to be able to use it. But it's probably going to end up sitting on the shelf for a little while. It's gonna give me a chance to paint it, which is nice. But it's just hard. It's hard to be on the back foot when I'm hearing my cohorts and fellow campaigners being like, oh yeah, I got my guy on my jet ski now, and jet surfboard, and oh yeah, I got a new guy, and now he's carrying twin bolt pistols, and it's a thing. And my wonderful opponents have said that our campaign arbiter can change things. We can house rule some stuff, but then I feel bad because that means that they're making house rules to specifically make it more fun for me, and hopefully Games Workshop is making these competitive things for a reason. I don't know. Enough of that, because I want to move on to other gaming. So I got to play my wife's Land of Monsters D&D game. First off, she's doing a great job, which there was no question of that. She's been doing a fantastic job. But that's not the highlight of the game for me. The highlight of the game for me was when my son, my almost 16-year-old son, out-nerded me at the table. So there is a spell, a bard spell in D&D. It's called like Rothalum Psychic Lance. It's a great spell. I've used it many times with some of my, like one of my Adventure League characters. I had a gift bard that was like his go-to every time. And we get into a situation where there's this halfling that tried to assassinate a guy, and he jumps off a balcony or jumps out the window and runs out into the street. And it gets to Connor. That's my son. It gets to Connor's turn. And he Connor runs out onto the balcony, and obviously he can't see the halfling because the halfling has since run out into the alleys or whatever. And he goes, "I'm going to cast Rothalum Psychic Lance," and everyone at the table was like, "At what? You don't have a target." And he goes, "No. If I know the guy's name, it homes in on him like a magic missile." And I went, "What?" Everyone else at the table went, "What?" And I was like, "Are you sure?" Because I use that spell all the time, and I've never done that before. I've always used it like a laser. And he goes, "No." And sure enough, we pull up the spell description, and it's like the second part. It's like the second or third line in the paragraph. That's like, if you know the target, the name your target goes by, you ignore line of sight, and it as long as the target's within range. And I was like, I was so thrown aback and utterly proud that my kid, who from time to time I feel like he's playing D. I'm always worried that he's playing D&D to placate good old dad. But then there are sessions like this last Tuesday where he really got into it, and he got into his character, and he had good conversations with NPCs. And then during our one little combat, he pulls this this trick out of his sleeve, and I'm like, dude, you know your spells better than I know your spells, and this is my job. So I was again super proud of him, and it froze the guy in his tracks around the other end of the building, so our barbarian could chase him down, and our druid could turn into a panther and chase him down, and while we healed the guys he tried to assassinate. It was a great scene. It was a great thing, and it shows that even if I doubt sometimes that my kid is, enjoying himself, or that he might be role playing just to be, part of what we're doing that day, he is getting it. He's got it down pat. And in fact, I mentioned before that there is a D&D club what is it, Dimensions and Dyson Dimensions or something, because they can't say D&D. But there's a role-playing club at his high school that he did for most of this year. He kind of fell out of it toward the end of the year, but he had said it was because the DM really didn't have a control over the situation, and it was kind of all over the place. And he was having a good time, but it wasn't something that he wanted to give up every Wednesday, afternoon to do. And so one of our friends, one of our players at the table said, why don't you run something? And he was like, I'm kind of thinking about maybe he might. So Connor might be a DM at the D&D club next year. I was thinking it would be awesome. I'd love to see him, rock and roll that way. And then of course people at the table were like, yeah, and you could grab a book and you could just run it straight out of the book if you wanted to, if you weren't feeling confident. And without a bat, without missing a beat, my kid looks at them and goes, nah, I'm pretty creative. I'll probably come up with my own story. I could not have been more proud. I didn't beam. I didn't cry because I'm a big crier. I just held it in. And as soon as the session was over, he went back upstairs to go play with his friends online. I sat there like just glowing. I'm like, my kid not only is thinking about being a DM for the high school D&D club, but is probably going to run his own thing, make his own world, come up with his own stories. I am chef's kiss happy about that. So gaming was a good week for gaming, even if I did get trounced in Necromunda. Let's see, what else? I think there has to be personal, gaming, painting, work stuff. All right, so this is where things, I won't say go bad, because it's not bad. It's just I had really, really good news late last week. If you follow me on socials, you already saw it. One of the books that I co-wrote got a Judge's Spotlight Any for 2024. The Essence 20 Field Guide to Action and Adventure, basically the crossover book for Essence 20. We won an Any. So I'm unbelievably excited. And I was doing the math and looking at my CV and my past works and whatever. I haven't won any awards that weren't painting related since 2004. So literally 20 years ago, we won a bunch of Origins Awards for War Machine, and now I've got an Any as well. I hate to say because it was definitely a huge team effort, and there were like 4 authors involved, and it was a group effort. It was a great book that we put together. Any award winner now. It's kind of surreal, but very cool. I'm very happy. I hope that maybe next year, if all goes well, maybe we can have add another Origins Award for miniatures game for Warzone. That would be nice. Speaking of Warzone and things, work stuff. I am plugging away at some Shadowrun stuff. Not the novel that I thought I was. An opportunity to do a couple of little mini short stories. Sorry, my nose itches really bad. I think my mustache hairs go up my nose. I had an opportunity to drop a couple of kind of really mini short stories into something for Shadowrun, so I'm going to draw some of those up. Still waiting to hear back about getting the novel started. I don't know what the holdup is, because it should be kind of cut and dry. But we'll see. I've got other ideas if that one cashes out on me. But I hope it doesn't. I'm really, really excited to start putting words to page on that one. Let's see. We'll get to Warzone late. Evil Genius, things are going great with Evil Genius. We actually just started our Game Found campaign for the Armory. A book full of over 700 weapons for everyday heroes, / everyday arcana / intergalactic heroes, with a section on how to convert everyday heroes equipment for regular D&D 5e. So it's, if you are even remotely interested, I mean, we're talking massive amounts of equipment that you have options now, and not just guns. Bows, shields, swords, armor. It is going to be a really, really useful book for pretty much anybody who wants to have even remotely modern aspects to their games. Which I'll put the link for the Game Found in the description. You should totally jump on board. We would love to have you. Starting to cross things off the list for Gen Con. Getting things ready. I'm about 2/3 of the way done writing the Super Ego Gen Con special event. The multi-table event, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. I hope that it is entertaining for everybody. I hope that it is exciting, and that the people who have worked hard with their ego characters to bring themselves up to that point and join in the fun, or the people who just show up and play with pre-gens. I hope that they have a good time and enjoy the kind of weirdness that we've been putting together at this point now. It's been almost a year and a half worth of work to kind of create this culmination point for the story. More on that later. Yeah, I think that's pretty much... stuff on Legendary. Legendary stuff has been coming through just fine. We're getting all kinds of great art. The books are shaping up and coming together. Basically, at this point, we're just waiting to get the layout done and then send them off to print. So, steps are being taken just slowly, one foot in front of the other, to try and get that stuff done. But I'm excited to get those. You're seeing these art pieces coming in. It makes me sort of like a proud parent of these books as they're starting to gel officially, like seeing these images, these art orders that I wrote in art form. So yeah, super excited there. Intergalactic Heroes is coming on strong. In fact, there might be... I'll probably wait till maybe next week's episode. I have something cool that I might be able to show you guys about Intergalactic Heroes. All right, so then the last thing, the last work thing that will lead directly into the rest of this video is Warzone Eternal. Warzone has been going great. Playtesting proceeds. We are now the first wave is done. There is no more playtesting really needed for the Kickstarter wave of models. Nothing is, the last 2 months worth of gameplay has shown that we've hit it on the head. These are great. They're in a great place. So we're officially basically ready to finish putting all of the things to print, getting the cards printed, getting the final layout of the Graviton protocol put together. We're so close to being able to start fulfilling. I'm over the moon. Alex went out to the Cast production place, Trenchworks, and saw the actual production models, and he said that he was absolutely, like, it was not even a, well, they're okay, they're good enough. No, he said they're fantastic. They're holding all of their crispness and the crispness of the detail, and the thermoplastic, of course, is extremely durable. So yeah, we're so close. We're starting to bag things up, like getting the bases bagged, and the print copies of the short story collection have come in. It's just officially these things are starting to come together. So we're within a couple of months of being able to start shipping. It's rad. I'm so excited to get this stuff out into people's hands. In fact, so excited that playtesting has been going strong on the next wave of minis. Plus, internal playtesting has begun on the wave after that. So full steam ahead when it comes to Warzone Eternal. I'm very excited, and I hope that you guys will be too. I know a lot of you have probably come to this video specifically to talk about some Warzone Eternal stuff, which I told you that we had a tournament update. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so I announced at, let me get a drink of my Dubby energy drink for my new sponsor, Dragon Dubby Sipper. Sorry, I had an ice cube came out with the thing. I didn't want to crunch it in the microphone. What was it? Oh, the tournament kit. Yeah, so back at Adepticon, I had announced the existence of the the official tournament kit that we are going to be producing for people to start running official tournaments at their own shows and their shops and things. More details as to how to get those kits, because those kits are going to go through me personally. They're going to be Ursa's Den Productions kind of things. The tournament kit is going to have the how do I put this? The 3 games that you normally play in a standard tournament, or a standard score points based tournament. You will have 3 missions that you play. Each game will be a different scenario. Each game will have a different kind of deployment zone. And then the secondary objectives are going to be aligned where each scenario will have one secondary objective that you always have, and then you get to choose the rest. And the reason for this is we want to try and lean in on people making armies that are, or making forces that are not designed to do one thing. You know, I mean, you can, that's fine. If you want to do that one thing and do it really well and hope that that carries you through the day, that's fine. But our goal is to hopefully have people build forces that are a little more flexible, that are a little more tactical in nature, and that, you know, maybe if you build one that's extremely good at, you know, this particular thing, that you are probably going to dominate on one of those 3 scenarios, and then the other 2 you might have to work a little harder tactically to get those done. But then you can adjust things using your secondary objectives to try and make a little more out of those out of the army that you have. You will also build 2 army lists. You will build an Agents of Light army list and a Servants of Darkness army list. Because even if you're playing Brotherhood or Dark Legion, there's always a chance you might be accidentally manipulated into fighting for the other side. Now, for some people, that might literally be the exact same army list. You might just basically bring 2 of the same army list and go, I don't care which side that I'm on. But we wanted to give people an opportunity to be flexible, and maybe if they want to throw in a Mortificator, or if maybe they want to throw a few Necromutants in their Brauhaus list, or as the game progresses and we get more models in, maybe they want to add some semi-cultists to their capital, or let's say that we ever get, you know, personalities, we ever get Baron Staller in his Carcass armor. You know, those are things that you might want to field a Bauhaus force with Staller. You know, we wanted to make that an option, and originally, our original rules, we had things cooked into the rules that basically you had like a points percentage that you could flip and change, and it just really proved in testing to be kind of cumbersome, especially if you were in a situation where the tournament needs to be very tight to the time, where you don't have a half an hour between matches to sit there and fiddle with your reinforcements lists and stuff. So at the end of the day, we figured out the tournament kit is going to require people to bring 2 army lists, or the same army list twice, or whatever, based off of which side they end up that they end up on. And then yeah, so that is that's the general scheme of building the tournament kit, and the goal is that will be available. The tournament kits will be available by October. That is what I want. Whether or not that actually happens completely is partially up to the next part of what I'm going to tell you. So I added Adepticon. I also told everyone about the a Luna City credit coin that is kind of part challenge coin, but also 40 millimeters wide, so it can be used as an objective marker. That I will be basically selling alongside the tournament kits to use as maybe prizes at these tournaments. It is going to be a situation where we want people to use these as a fun social currency between the two of them, but also maybe just to have them use them as your objective markers. You know, they're just going to be really neat. And I started the process getting them created through the wonderful folks over at Norse Foundry. And I officially got the images of the first, basically the master mold run from the Chinese fabrication office or facility. So I have a picture of it, and I'm going to show you the picture of the coin. The person is holding two of the masters, basically to show the heads and the tails. So I'm going to go ahead and show that to you guys now. Just please keep in mind that these are just the production masters. The material that they are made out of is just a super dense, like, tin to basically create the mold. Our actual finished products are going to be more of a burnished nickel. They'll look more like actual, like, coins, like pocket change type coins. They'll have a tumbled edge and a look, almost like a dark silver, like gun gray instead of this color. But without further ado, let's take a look at it. Pretty rad, right? I'm excited. It's the first one of its kind. I guess first two of their kind. And I went ahead and we paid the fabricators, and they're officially underway. I have been told by my good friend Justice over at Norse Foundry that we are on track to have those ready by October. So if all goes well, people will be able to start buying buying coins and getting the tournament kits for I think the first show after that is a Warfare Weekend, Michigan GT, and then PAX Unplugged. And then of course, obviously for your own personal events and things, they will be available. I could not be more excited. But I'm not done yet. In the thumbnail, you'll notice I was holding this box. This big box. Alright, so when we decided that we were going to start doing tournaments, one of the things that I really wanted to do, for not only for ease to make sure that Alex's head doesn't explode, but also for my own purposes, is having game mats that are extremely easy to do. You know, it's one of the things that I think miniature gaming has really excelled at lately, is the extra stuff, the terrain features and stuff like that. One of the things that one of our playtesters and avid, like, he's been since day one, he's been part of the team since Jump Street. Zach got a game mat made by another company out in the EU. I can't remember where they were, but I really liked the idea because he got basically a game mat with all of our deployment zone lines drawn on it. So it's like a terrain mat, but then there's also the lines themselves. So there's no guesswork. There's no, oh, I'm 12 inches out. I'm 6 inches out. Oh, which corner am I in? It's all drawn on the thing. It's like a vector diagram, and I really liked that idea. I thought it was really cool. So I reached out to a couple of mat companies, and by halfway through the conversation, I reached out to our very, very good friends over at Mats by Mars. I have known those guys for a million years. And I reached out and I talked to them and was like, this is what I kind of want to do. I want to make mats, game mats that are perfect for Warzone Eternal. Now, licensing, I can't call them official Warzone Eternal mats because there's no branding on or anything like that. They can be used for other stuff, obviously. But for the most part, we wanted to create a relationship with a company that could be making our game mat for tournaments, for regular gameplay, just in general. Basically these are the mats that we say you should get. And so I sent over the vector diagram to the folks over at Mats by Mars, and I was like, hey, this is what I want. What do you think? Do you think this is something you can do? And we went back and forth a little bit about, what they should look like, what the graphics should be, and that primarily I really just want to make sure that we had enough to run the tournament at Adepticon, but also to help push people to buy stuff from Mats by Mars. I wanted to make sure that they get credit where credit is due, and they make amazing stuff. Their new material, their new anti-wrinkle game mat material is spot on. It's fantastic. You can really beat the hell out of it, and it still does everything it says on the tin, and it is far lighter than like a neoprene mouse pad mat. But we were talking, and we looked through their stuff, and we came to the realization that there's a couple of different patterns that really work well for Warzone, and it would let me diversify our battlefields. And so I said, all right, cool. Let's talk about price. Let's talk about make these things happen. And Alex, one of the guys over there, sent me he sent me an email that was like, well, let's go ahead and take a look at this and get you a sample. He's like, they're in. They want to do this. They want to be our tournament mat producers, and it's not even tournaments at this point. It's just you have the Warzone Eternal mats, or mats that are perfect for Warzone Eternal, by Mats by Mars, which makes them a Capitolian company. Mats by Mars, part of the Capital Microphone. And so I get a box. I had said that I last couple episodes, I've actually mentioned that I was waiting for an unboxing. Well, this is it. Now, when I said I was waiting for an unboxing, I expected Alex to send me a sample run. Basically, here's the first one, take a look at her. This box weighs almost 30 pounds. And okay, come on. They're too slippery. All right, we'll do the small one first. So I would like to introduce to you guys and show you the Mats by Mars 3x3 game mats ready for use in Warzone Eternal. So let me pull one of these off. How do I do that? They're rounded up really weird. Okay. Okay, hang on a second. So this one is the... Oh man, these are great! Alright. Go over there. Alright. So, we have a 3x3 mat, as expected. This one is like the cracked Mars surface, so we can have like some Martian banshees jumping around. But if you look real close, let's see if I can get you to see it. Those lines that are on there, those lines that match up in the corners. So we've got the circle for the corner deployment. We've got the direct line for that you put down to the center. Basically, those vectors cover all of our deployment zone and like deployment marker type things. It's fantastic. So, and then to boot, where's it at? one of the things that I wanted to make sure that they did, because we're going to be using this at all of our conventions and official tournaments and things, is I wanted them to include not only their logo, obviously, because it's their product, but I wanted them to include a QR code that will take you directly to their website. So that way, you'll be able to, if you're, let's say you go to a tournament, you come to Adepticon, you go, man, these mats are amazing. Oh, I love that that material, that no wrinkle material stuff. I can't wait to get my own. You can just grab your phone and go boop and order one right on the spot. And so that's I'm so excited. So that's the Mars one, the Mars cover. The next one, the next version you're gonna see. Oh my god, they're so slippery. They're so slippery. There we go. There. All right. And this one is a Venusian jungle. So, and oh, you can, with this one, you can see the lines a little better on the camera. So that's what I was talking about, how every deployment zone line is covered. There's a whole vector of all of the spots. It's got everything mapped out, so there's no question when you're setting up your armies or putting pieces of terrain, or let's say there's one of the scenarios in the Graviton protocol says you have to put a piece of terrain in every 12-inch square. Well, you'll note that there's these big 12-inch squares, so you've got those squares mapped out too, so you know exactly where things need to go, how things are going to go, and then it's this cool material that is like, you know, I could not do this to other things and be worried about it. This material is so freaking good. I'm so excited to get these on the board and start playing. I mean, obviously I play all the time, but now I have, like, official, like mats that are built for our game. And then the last one, let's get this last one, and then we'll. This last one is designed more for a. Oh, what is that? Hang on a second. I think there might be two different ones in this. What if there's two in one of the other ones? Or is this all the same one and it's just got a weird ending? Well, alright, yeah. So this one's more of an urban, like a Luna City, like an urban style thing for us to put down. But then, hang on a second, because there was one in here, there's a couple of them in here that are completely different. Hang on a sec. I think they may have sent me some surprises. Oh yeah, cool. So here's almost like a frozen, like a jungle swamp. Which, is that snow or water? I think that might be snow. This is like a tundra map. This is like the other part of Venus. I've got both Venuses on here. Very cool. See, that makes me so happy. All right, which now it means I want to open up this other one to see if they're all... Are these all jungle? Are all of you jungle? Nope! They are different! Oh my gosh! All right, so Mats by Mars. Alex, I'm going to send you the thankiest letter of all time. I was not expecting all of this. I'm pretty sure we only had agreed to 3 versions. Oh, man. Sure. All right, so this one is... what is this? Oh, cool. This is more like a ruin. Oh, my gosh. This says Dark Citadel all over it. I could build a heck of a Dark Citadel map on this. It's got a cage thing in the middle, like a cage drain. Yeah, no, these are... All right, yeah, you guys are getting a super big thank you. Okay, yeah, so that's what I wanted to unbox for all of you guys. I know this has been a very long-winded episode, but there's so much cool stuff getting ready to put together between the challenge coin / objective markers, the actual tournament kit itself, the mats that Mats by Mars are making that are perfect for Warzone Eternal. Us getting geared up for Adepticon, getting geared up for the actual shipping of the backing. Warzone Eternal is so close to being in all of your guys' homes and at your game stores and on the game tables. I feel like an expectant father. I feel like Resnova is a pregnant lady waiting to have my kid. I'm so close. But I'm over the moon. If you guys can't tell, this really, going through this box put an absolute smile on my face, and I hope that it did to you guys. If it did for you guys too, and I will absolutely let Alex know. Heck, maybe I don't even know if we'll see if we can get the link up and running, and maybe you guys can already start buying stuff from Mats by Mars. I will put the link to their website directly in the description of the video. And even if you just have to contact them and go, hey, I saw the Warzone Eternal mats on Bryan's show, that's what I want. I'm sure they can start. They'll work something out with you. Fantastic day, great stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I am, like I said, it's been great showing you guys all this cool stuff, and I cannot wait until we actually have the finished coins in hand to be able to start getting them out to people, but also just to be able to show you the actual like finished tones and hear the jingle in the pouch. Yeah. So until then, just stay safe, wash your hands, get your shots, wear a mask if you have to, don't sneeze on people, try not to lick any doorknobs. Just, try and make sure every room is a little happier than when you leave than when you got there. And maybe the world will be a little better place. Until then, have fun, play some games. We'll see you next week.